Paranormal Experience with Kat Hobson covers a paranormal experiences, haunted locations, and their histories. High strangeness, including cryptozoology, ufologists, psychic mediums, psychics and mediums, authors, and media personalities. Let's join her as she seeks to bring light to those things that exist by hiding in the dark. And here she is, your intrepid host of Paranormal Experience, Kat Hobson.
Hello there. Welcome to Paranormal Experience. I am Kat Hobson, your host, and I am so excited that y'all get to listen to tonight's guest. She is absolutely wonderful. But before I go, I have to say congratulations to my grandson, Frankie J., who graduated from 4-year-old pre-K. Now he is going to be in real school, and he is like pumped. So if you ever need any Pokemon found, he's your guy. Now, I am so excited because my guest tonight is not just an author, and we're going to go into everything else that she does too, but she's my friend. And she is probably, I'm not going to say probably, she is the best animal whisperer I know. She can connect with them. When I adopted my dog Heidi, she worked with her. She just converses with them psychically, and it's amazing. And you can see them acknowledge that she's in their head. And Heidi is the dog that I unfortunately lost to leukemia. But we were having a difficult time with one of our new rescues. He's not that new. And June was able to communicate with him too. And I have seen a tremendous difference in the last week since she and I talked about him. So I'm going to just say, if you need work done with an animal, this is who you need to reach out to. And I totally vouch for that. And I've never known her to have a bad day. So she's June Lundgren. She joined the military at 18 and trained as a nurse. She is a demon seer, an author of about to be 10 books. You've seen her on Ghost Adventures. You've heard her on Coast to Coast Radio. You've heard her on Midnight in the Desert. You've heard her on Fate Magazine Radio, and you've heard her before with me. She is really fantastic. She has book 10 into the publisher now. It's going to be called Dark Encounters, and I've seen a galley, and it is fantastic. If you have any questions relevant to that, or if you need new work done in that way, she is somebody that you can turn to. She's on Facebook. She's just about everywhere you want to be. She also is the founder of Ghosts and Girls Paranormal. So without further ado, let's bring June on here.
Hi, how's everybody doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm assuming anybody listening to us is too, because they get to hear you. So go them. But thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I really like you so much. I think that you are probably one of the most natural people I've met in the paranormal. I think that you are really great at everything I've seen you do. I know that you're a demon seer. I know who lives with you and in you. And not everybody does, but they will before the end of the night. And to me, all of that is great on a global and, well, everything realm. But I think that what you've done with animals is equally just the coolest. So
animals.
thank you for that, by the way.
Absolutely.
And we have Jennifer in chat that's saying hello. So,
hello.
But now, where do you want to start? Because you've got all these books, you've got all these experiences. I have all these jets. We are on a flight plan for Birmingham, but so periodically we may get a little in the tumble. So, you've got a brand new book,
I
Dark
do.
Encounters, and I'm going to tell you that if I didn't know you, I would be going, "Oh man, this is the best fiction I've ever read," right? But I do know
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
and I know it's not the best fiction I've ever read. It's some of the scariest things if I'm not you, um, that you would come across, you know?
Yeah. It's a few of them. It's 15 of them, but
Yeah.
I've had a lot more. But those are just the most, shall we say, the most scary ones that people can relate to.
Well, being an investigator, I actually related to them pretty strongly. I have not, to my knowledge, come across something like that, but I have had someone try to send something here and had to deal with that. But when did you first realize that you were a psychic medium?
Oh, I grew up that way. My mother dumped me off on my grandparents, and my grandmother was a psychic medium. And so, she watched as I was, even as a child, a baby, that animals would gather. They live on
Hmm.
a farm, and they would gather under my crib, and
Right?
they sit around like they would watch me, and their heads would turn as if we were having a conversation. And so that's when my grandmother knew I could talk to animals, and she encouraged that. And I could see, human spirits, and she taught me that, how to tell the good ones from the bad ones. And I did see an occasional, up until I was about 4.5, I did see an occasional demon, but it was usually, when we were out somewhere. And most of the time, until I was about 4.5, I saw them as most humans do, puff of smoke, black mass, things like that.
Yes.
But about 4.5 was when my vision changed, and I could see them in their true form. And it kind of, it scared me at first. But
I could see that.
Michael the Archangel, he's been with me my entire life. So he's like, don't worry about it. He says, I'll protect you. He says, you are seeing them as we see them. You are seeing them through an angel's eyes. And he said, don't worry about it. He says, I want you to watch them. I want you to study them and learn how they work and see what they do. So he said, you'll be able to see them, but they won't be able to see you. I will keep them from seeing you. So, when you're a kid, you think it's a game. So you're
Yeah.
like, oh, cool. Yeah, I'll do that. And so I did that. I watched them. When I was about 17, he took the cloak away so that I could see them and they could see me. And I would watch them interact with people and things like that. But I never thought anything more of it until I was in 1981. I was in a motorcycle accident. A woman ran a red light and hit me on my bike. Trashed my bike. Dang it. But I woke up next
Couldn't have
day.
done much for you either.
No, I got a fractured skull and a right radial head fracture. But I didn't mess up my leathers. They were fine.
Well, that's because you were dressed for the slide instead of the ride, right?
Yeah, yeah. She hit me
Thank
so hard
God.
that it embedded the foot brake into the engine housing, and I
Oh my
flew the other
gosh.
side of the street. I wasn't wearing a helmet at the time because they weren't mandatory. So,
Right.
but the type of helmet I wore was a full face. So the ER doctor told me, if you had been wearing that, it would have snapped your neck the way you landed. So I went. I was clinically dead for about 2 minutes, and I went to the other side, and my grandparents were there, and Michael was there. And he said, "You're here because you need to understand who and what you are." And I'm like, I'm thinking, yeah, I'm just me. And he's like, no. And he touched my forehead, and how my quote unquote body changed. So I looked more like him. I was like 7 feet tall, 12-foot wingspan, had long, dark auburn hair and blue green eyes. And he says, "This is who you truly are." He said, "Your soul is Ariel the Archangel. She is a demon slayer. She is one of the elite. She is a member of the Legion of Light." And he says, "Your job now is to remove demons, to kill demons. This is your job as it has been in all your other lifetimes." And he said, "It's time for you to go back. You need to go back. You're not meant
Right.
to stay over here." So when I opened my eyes, I went back to my body. When I opened my eyes, the policeman was, leaning over me looking nervous. He's like breathing a sigh of relief when I
Yes.
started breathing again. So I woke up in the hospital, and, it's like, okay, fine. So I tried to look up, Ariel, and it's like they spell it wrong because her name is Auriel, not Ariel.
Yes.
And there wasn't much you could find out other than the fact that she was one of the five that guard the throne of God, and her name means Lion of God. But Michael said, you really need to understand who she is, and you need to be able to communicate with her better. So he did what he called a merge. So it merged the soul consciousness with the physical consciousness.
Okay.
So all I have to do is close my eyes for a minute, and then she comes forward, and I look when I see through her eyes, I don't see the physical world as it is. I see the energy that makes up the object or the land or the person. It's different, and that's how. And I can see through things, and I know when a demon's coming long before it's coming. I've known, the longest I've known is like 2 years in advance, and it's like, okay,
Really?
yeah. What you
So,
do is, you have to, like, you acknowledge it and then you let go of it,
right.
because if you obsess about it or worry about it or think about it, it's not good for you, and it'll draw them to you even faster.
Well, I would say that it would probably just the energy coming from that fear,
Yeah,
even if it's concern as opposed to fear,
yeah,
that seems to be a big draw. I mean,
yeah,
they seem to
yeah.
be people that have intense fear who don't
Hmm.
have faith too
Right.
seem to be affected very strongly and often.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They feed off of the fear. Any negative emotion, jealousy, anger, fear, depression. They feed off that. I've never been afraid of them, and it's
Well, you
like
don't
God
need to
says,
be.
yeah, He says, you can't serve me and be afraid of them. He said that would not work. When I first started removing them, I said to Michael, I said, these guys can kill my ass, and he's like, no, they can't. He says, because he says Ariel protects the body. And when she comes forward, they don't want to be anywhere near where she is. They will run the other way. And they do.
Well, I know in your other books too, but specifically in this one, some of the stories in there or some of the experiences in there you and I have talked about before.
Hmm.
And I always find it interesting that they're quite cocky
They are. They're
until
very much so.
they realize this is not just some little woman who's standing
Yeah.
here investigating here. This is, oh no, and
Yeah.
boom.
That's the thing is, the demons are kind of like a lot of people, a lot of humans, is they look at the outside. They don't look
Yes.
any deeper than the outside. And that is their downfall, because she stays hidden within me until the time is right. And once she comes out, they're not even aware until she comes out. And then they're
Yeah.
screwed, and they know it.
Yeah. You know, I find that is a lot like humans too. But
Yeah.
yeah, underestimate me. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
But there's a reason that's a big time t-shirt, right?
Right.
So It's it really is something. The first time that Ariel was unleashed, the
Hmm.
first time that you realized, hey, I can, you know, how did you interact with, because basically it's you interacting with you, okay?
Yeah.
But how
Yeah.
did you recognize how to let her out?
It was instinctive. I didn't have to do anything but think of her, and she was there. It's
Okay.
like we're two separate entities. She has a consciousness, I have a consciousness, but we're a blend because what she sees, I see, and vice
Hmm.
versa. What she hears, I hear. And she has a lot of knowledge, which I have access to.
That would be my favorite part.
Yeah, but there's a lot of knowledge that I'm forbidden to say anything about. So,
Well, sure. I mean, it's not just for everybody, right? I mean,
no,
because there's some things that you wouldn't want the other side having access to.
yeah, and they
So,
can. That's, that's why people think, well, that's why demons can show themselves as something really, really scary, because what they'll do is they'll go into your mind and they'll pull out your image of what a demon should look like, or maybe it's something you saw on TV or in a movie or something like that, and they'll show themselves to you as that image, only 100 times more scary. And they that evokes fear, and that feeds them. It makes them stronger.
okay. I've always heard that.
It does. It really makes them stronger. And when you know, I've had people say, well, can't you just send them love and light and things will be fine? And I'm
They
like,
don't
really?
acknowledge that. They
They
eat that for
don't acknowledge.
lunch.
Well, they don't acknowledge. They'll be laughing at you. It's like, yeah, okay. It's like, I'm like, or I've had people that say, well, I've used crystals to protect myself. I'm like, that's not going to protect you. All that does is amplify the energy that's put into it, whether it's positive or negative. I said, there are few things in the physical world that will protect you, and that's not one of them.
No. What are the ones?
Like there are, you can use holy water to put over the top of your doors and windows to keep them out. You say a prayer and ask for God's blessing and not to let anything negative cross the threshold or enter your home. You can use, there's a crucifix. If you have a crucifix with the image of Jesus on it, and it has to be a likeness, it cannot be an abstract image.
Okay.
Or if you're Jewish and the Star of David, that will protect you in the way that it's all about intention, your belief in that Star of David or that crucifix or that bag of rocks
Yeah.
is what protects you. It sends out this energy that says, this is powerful. This is going to protect me. And we're all linked to God. We all have that link to Him. And with that link, you empower yourself with that belief. And in the dark realm as well as the light realm, thought becomes reality. And it's the intention behind the thought that gives it power to do good or power to do evil. It's all about that. Plus, there is black salt. Michael and God gave me the recipe for it. I'd never even heard of it. And God says, I want you to make this salt. You're going to give it to people to protect them. And I'm like, okay. So He instructed me on how to make it. And at each step of the making of it, God puts His energy into it and Ariel puts her energy into it. And that's what makes it so powerful. And, once you lay a line around your home of it, there's nothing that's going to pass through there that's negative. Nothing that's demonic anyway. Human negatives, you can't help them. They are what they are. You know what I'm saying? Nasty in
I
love,
do.
nasty in death.
And it's very
Yeah.
difficult to redirect them too.
Yeah, unless you have angelic energy, then they don't like having a run in with Ariel either, because she takes no quarter.
Right.
Except with
Well,
animals. She don't care. She likes animals. She don't It doesn't matter.
well, I think that one of the most important things, like you said, rocks without faith backing it up, um, are just rocks
Exactly.
without
Just
the
like a
energy.
crucifix is just a crucifix without the energy and the belief.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, and I think that the belief is, like you said, that's what brings you the protection. I
Mhm.
have I have gotten someone a crucifix that I couldn't get blessed because the priests weren't in. And I
Mhm.
was just like, this really needs to happen. I really need to give this to someone.
Or you could
And
just
I
dip it in holy water. That'll do the
I
same.
did. I put
Yeah.
it in the font and then
Yeah.
I just prayed.
Mhm.
And when I gave it to them, it was really great protection. And it
Mhm.
still is.
Oh yeah.
But, I have faith anyway.
Yeah.
And I also, what you do freaks me out a little bit. I would not mind being with you while you did that, but I would not want to be back to back being somebody that has to have your back because I don't know if my energy would be enough to do that. But
People.
Ariel doesn't need that.
No, she doesn't need it, and people. You'd be surprised how many people want to come with me. On when I do an investigation or if I go to do a removal, people really, really want to go, and that's fine as long as you have your protection.
Hmm.
But I had a gentleman that wanted to come with me, and he's a medium, very good one, very, very good one, and but a very strong empath.
Hmm.
And I told him,
Oh, that's, yeah.
yeah, I said, you need to put your protection in place before you come with me. So well, what he thought was protection was wearing a crystal around his neck,
Oh,
and that doesn't work. So I'm in the middle of removing one demon, and I hear him saying, "Get it off me, get it off me." So I told Michael, I said, "Get it off him, will ya?"
I know I brought him, but can you help us help me out here?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, and he's like,
So,
and so it's like, I told him, I said, that will not protect you. I said, that is nothing. You might as well be wearing nothing.
well, he
And
was wearing nothing.
yeah,
Yeah.
literally. But it's, I've had like two three people that want to see what I see. I have the ability to have them hold my hand, and they can see what I see. They can see through Ariel's eyes and my eyes. And
That would
that
be
kind of freaks them out.
disconcerting. Yeah.
Yeah, the gentleman that had it jumping on his back, he wanted to. So when we went outside to get clear the other demons that were outside, and one, he says, "What?" He's like, "What are they saying? I can't understand what they're saying." And they were speaking in Aramaic, and I said, "It's just you don't want to know." I said, "Because it's nothing ever complimentary." And then one of the demons started running at him, and he broke the connection, and I just, killed it. So, but it's like, and then of course Zach Baggins. It's like, oh, I want to see it. I want to see it. I said, no, you don't. No, you don't. But I'm sure he regrets that one.
May have been a good educational moment for him.
Oh yeah, the part
I
that
mean,
gets me
because
is,
when he started,
yeah,
he was not quite as respectful of that possibility as he is now.
yeah, but he just,
So
but the demon had a message for him. Don't provoke. You know, don't provoke. You
he
have no
didn't
idea
listen to
what
that
you're doing.
well.
No, you don't.
He did not listen to that well.
And then after that,
So,
after that was when that same demon that was in the demon house,
yeah.
that's the one, that was there. Because he didn't listen at the time, it said, okay, it's on your head. I told him, I said, you have to be respectful. I said, this is something you can't see, you can't feel, you can't touch, you can't communicate with, you can't hear, and you want to provoke it? I said, that's just stupid. And and he didn't listen. So that's why the demon reappeared in the demon house and messed his eyes up badly. He's lucky it didn't stop his heart, because I've seen him reach in and try to stop people's hearts, and they can do it.
You know, that is probably all the more frightening because of the delivery of the statement you just made. I mean, it was just kind of like, yep, that happens. Yep, they can do it. Because people,
I've
and
seen
I'm
him
a
pick up,
paranormal.
I've seen him pick up a 300-pound man and throw him down the stairs. It's not,
That's something.
people think, oh, they can't hurt you. I'm like, yeah, okay, keep believing that.
Well, I mean, that's their job.
I know.
Their job is to seek, kill, and destroy.
Yeah.
So that is, when that's written in your job description, I think that's pretty much
You're pretty darn good at it
given.
after so many
Yeah.
billions of years,
Yeah. That's something else. Ostensibly, we don't know the age of the earth. We don't know the age of the universe. It's infinite.
Right.
And we can't quite grasp that. So we keep trying to put a definitive number on it.
Right.
Because that's what we do. And when you talk about millennia, that's really nothing
Mm-mm.
in the grand scheme of things. So these have, oh, you've got the biggest compliment. Can I read it to you?
Sure.
And it's from our friend Victoria. Said, you're a fascinating and amazing person, and that she's so glad that you're on the show. And she's going to have to catch the rest of it in a replay because she has to walk out the door. So, and that's from Victoria Monday.
Oh, yeah.
So, but, and, I get that from people every time we have a conversation on the air. And I think that other people who have this ability, I don't know anyone else with your skill set personally, but I do know some very good psychics, and she is one. But it's really a huge compliment when someone who has a degree of that skill set
Mm-hmm.
recognizes that, I'm just really not all that because here is the all that, so I think that that's pretty cool.
I tell people I just put my pants on the same way you do, when they get a time. I just have this other persona.
Yeah.
Working as a nurse and stuff, it's just like, yeah, okay, And then you spend your weekends killing demons. It's like, oh yeah, okay. What are you doing this weekend? Oh, not much, just killing a few demons,
I'm going to use my white swords, and
Yeah.
I'm going to take them out.
Oh yeah. Why
But,
not?
I think that, back to what we were talking about, people are so nonchalant about, if they go into a place and there's a disturbance of
Mhm.
any type, if they see a
Yeah.
shadow person, if they see, and spirits present as shadows. I mean, because I've only once, maybe twice, I wasn't sure about the second time, seen somebody manifest as themselves,
Mm. Okay.
where you knew that's who you were talking to.
Right.
I've
Right.
seen silhouettes that look like people that I knew,
Yeah.
right? But I've only seen one solid person that I knew wasn't supposed to be there. And, would have defied all laws of physics for them to be there. So, but shadow people are not demons. And,
Real shadow persons are demonic minions.
but people
But
that are,
humans will show themselves as
yes,
shadow people. I mean,
yes.
you have to be able to tell the difference.
How do you tell the difference?
When it's a human entity that's like showing itself as whatever, a dog, a demon, a cat, or whatever, you get the usual ghost type symptoms where you'll get cold spots
Mm-hmm.
and the hairs on the back of your neck and stuff will raise up. Okay, you have things like that. When it's a demon, when it's demonic, they don't change the temperature except for in the core of your body. In the core of your body, you feel like this awful sense of dread and a coldness, like somebody froze the inside of your body, and the air feels heavy and thick.
I've come across that.
That's their calling cards. And then you may see, a lot of dead insects, rats, things like that. If they've been there a long time, you're going to see the dead rats or bugs or whatever, birds. But if they're just like passing through, then you're just, and then if they're within arm's length of you, that's what you're going to get.
Well, it was very disconcerting because I was in the hospital where I was born, and it was being condemned. It was going to be coming down, blah, 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 blah. It still hasn't come down, but it needs to. But there was one point where, yeah, I was seeing shadows. I saw, it was the first time I ever filmed a shadow that actually like melted and went under the door, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And and that was kind of cool. I'd never seen that, so
Cool.
it was interesting.
Yeah.
But later, we were actually in the psychiatric floor, and somebody was looking through a door that was locked. We were trying to get into it, and somebody was looking through the door at us, and we thought it was the people with us that were already on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
And they weren't there. They were like 2 stories up. And I was like, oh, but I have found that if I'm in a psychiatric facility, that sometimes the people that were having those problems
Right.
still have them in the afterlife.
They do if
which
they
was a
do not
surprise.
ascend. Yeah, if they don't ascend completely, they will maintain their human persona, their mindset from the human world. And if they ascend completely, then that all passes away. But if they don't ascend, if they stay earthbound, then that's what happens. Unfortunately, that's why.
Do humans know how to ascend automatically? Is that something that's innate in us?
When you die, you actually see this. Most 90% of people will see the light in some form or another. And if I had a case where I was called in a case where the house was haunted. Okay. I was like, I didn't know I was going in on the case. A friend of mine says, I want you to meet somebody. And I'm like, and I hit the driveway and I'm like, you got a resident ghost, don't you? And it's, yeah, that's what we need help with. And what happened was the man had a major heart attack. He was sitting in his recliner, had a major heart attack, and like a human would, blacked out. Like you're in shock. And when he woke up, there was nobody there like there normally is because he lived by himself until his son came over and his son's wife, and he tried to communicate with them and they couldn't hear him, see him, or anything. Then he realized he was dead. But by that time, when he actually died, the light had opened up, the doorway had opened up. But because he was in a kind of shock, he couldn't go through it. He couldn't see it. So he had to find someone to help him go through it. And he
Does that
didn't
happen
know
often?
Oh, yeah, more often than not. And he didn't, so eventually they find somebody. They get somebody to find somebody for them. And that's what happened in this case. And I told them, I said, I'll make the tunnel for you. Just go. I said, your wife's waiting for you. And I said, and your parents are there. So just go. I said, you have this couple that are here living in your house. I said, they respect your house, don't they? And he said, yes. He says, the others didn't respect my house. I said, well, they're taking care of it. They're going to respect it. Go, because I can create the tunnel. So I'd like, go. So he left.
Well, thank goodness that your friend brought you.
Yeah.
I mean, well,
Oh my
seriously,
God. I know.
I,
It's like,
I would not want to be stuck in perpetuity.
yeah, and it's never, it's like I go on vacation, but it's a busman's holiday every time I go on vacation. It's like, oh yeah, like I'm headed for Arizona at the end of this month. It's like, it's never just a plain vacation. There's always something. There's always some demon that needs to be rousted or something.
Well, if you really wanted to work, you could come with me to Scotland.
Yeah, I was there.
There's a lot there.
I was there.
I know.
I've been to Glasgow and I've been to Edinburgh. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
love both of those. Well,
and
I
I've been
haven't been
to
to Glasgow, but
I've
I've
been to
been.
Wales. I've been to Wales. The Isle of Wight. I spent a week on the Isle of Wight last May, and it was lovely. It reminds me a lot of the Oregon coast.
Well, I had a roommate who was from the Isle of Wight,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
so
There
it's
are so many animal sanctuaries there. I saw 3 a day, and I was there for 7 days.
really.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I am going this time with just a group of friends
Hmm.
to do paranormal investigations and
Yeah.
stuff, and to do the Scottish Paranormal and UFO conference.
Hmm.
And I'm very excited about going to that. By the way, just saying. But when we were there on our tour 2 years ago, it was such a terrible tour
Uh-uh.
that it was disorganized and didn't
Oh,
get into most of the places that we were
that you
sold.
wanted to, yeah.
Well, that was listed,
Oh
you know.
my.
So we're going to the ones that we missed.
Well, that'll be good then. You'll have a good
It will
time.
be.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of spirits just wandering through those streets.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
There's
it's the
all
weirdest
the
thing to
time.
me.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, they just walk. It's like if people could see what I see, it's like I don't see just this room. I see, 100 angels in this room because they have no sense of time. They have there's on the other side, there is no distance.
Hmm.
I mean, it's all about thought. If you just think, oh, Bahamas, you're there. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah,
Yeah.
baby. Send me there.
I just want to go.
Yeah, just send me there. I'll call you when I get back. Yeah.
It's something that blows me away about you is that this is so, I don't want to say nonchalant. You're not nonchalant, but you're so at peace with this side of you, which most people in hearing this show are probably going, really, you know, um, but it is a really,
Yeah, to
and
me, it's a part of me. It's
it is a part of you.
like breathing. I've been doing it. I'm 65. I've been doing it all my life.
Yes.
And so that's just for me. It's just normal. And if I've run into people who are phonies, which
Hmm.
really bothers me. But the thing is, and those are the people that usually ask for money. I've got, if you give me $1,800, I'll take your demon out. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And the demon be laughing, and the guy be laughing all the way to the bank.
Yes, they would. I've met those people and I've tried to steer people away from them.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. It's just, this is what you do for God.
Well,
This is God's
yes.
work.
And the only reason that you're doing it is because, well, you're called. That's your job.
Yeah, I tell people, I
And
said, what person in their right mind would want to do what I do? And
nobody that can really do it.
and nobody really wants to deal with the dark ones. And it's just so much a part of me that I just people sometimes take it as, you know, being cold or something, but I am empathic. I just had to shut it down because you cannot deal with the dark ones and be an empath. It
Yeah.
will tear you up. So, I shut it down long ago. But it's not that. It's just I see it day in and day out. Wherever I go, I see it. So it's with me all the time. I can't. It's not like you can get away with it. Get away from it. Yeah. Let me take a trip. I'm not gonna look at any demons. I'm not gonna see any demons. I'm not gonna see anybody that needs help. I can't do that. I won't do that.
Is it a choice? Could you if you wanted to?
I could, but then the problem is you'd be turning your back on God if you do that.
Yeah.
And really, I couldn't do that. Because without
Never.
God, nothing's possible. Especially, Ariel is a part of God, and she is a demon slayer. The Legion. She's a part of the Legion, which is Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Ariel, and they are the elite demon slayers. And they were created long. The Legion was created long before the war between heaven and hell, because God knew it was a matter of when, not if, Lucifer would pull something. And so he created the Legion, and the Legion trains the warrior angels. And there's a lot of warrior angels in physical form, reborn. There are over 30,000 of them born in physical form. And there are over 300,000 of them in spiritual form walking the earth. And there are the 7 archangels. So he's not turning his back on us, as lopsided as that is. He doesn't turn his back on us. He's there. It's just, you have to have eyes to see. Reminds me, the Bible. Those who have eyes to see, let them see. You see, but you do not perceive. You have to be aware. Don't be an ostrich, because that can get you killed.
Well, it usually does.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's in any scenario. If you're in any situation that has an element of danger and you're just walking around like Pollyanna,
Yeah.
there's a mark right there on you.
Yeah. It's
Here,
like,
take me out.
Yeah, that's the
So,
thing.
and that's not,
Yeah.
and that's not being frivolous.
No,
It
it's
really
just
is,
statement of
because,
fact. Yeah.
and I feel like I know some of these warrior angels
Oh yeah.
who
Well,
are here.
they're drawn to each other. They're drawn to other beings of light, and that's why in the last 3 years I've had over 3,000 of them come to me, because they want to know what they are and what their name is.
Mhm.
And I can do that. I can tell them that, and I can tell them what the name of the warrior angel is and what their specialty is, because they all have specialties. And
What
usually
type?
there are healers, there are communicators, there are strategists, there are like social workers, but there are no demon slayers, because that's not in their job description. They can fight a demon, but it's not it would be the last thing they'd want to do. But there's so much else. There's so much else that they need to do. They're here to help mankind in one way or another.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's you'll find it's if the warrior angel is like a healer, then most of the humans, when they're in human form, they're usually a healer of some kind, whether it be spiritual, emotional, or physical.
Yeah.
It usually correlates.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because that is a big deal.
It is.
And there's we're going to have to talk off the air too. But I am every time we have a conversation, I have more questions when we get through than I did when we started. And I'm like, she's got to be back on quick. And
It's
this
like, oh,
time it's
by the
been,
way, yeah, you think of things after the fact, or you think of things,
yes.
as you're going, and then you move on to something else. Yeah.
So, we have you and I have talked in the past about a friend of mine that when I described him to you, you were like, I think that he is probably this person.
Mhm.
And I mentioned that to that person.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, well, I I just, things happen and battle.
Yeah.
He's just like battle.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, because all warrior angels are trained in the art of battle by the
Yes.
Legion, and so and they're picked special.
Yeah.
You can't, not any just any old angel can be a warrior angel. You have to have absolute dedication to
Yes.
the cause and to God, because there is no if, ands, or buts. You cannot fail.
Yes. And that's the kind of person we're talking about.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting to me to see the different personas that come out, and we are so amazed when somebody, yeah, as humans, we're
Hmm.
so amazed when people just jump up and take care of something,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and people like even the news is like, and this hero today,
Right.
and it's like they're a hero every day.
Yeah.
Give them some credit where that's due.
Yeah. That's
But,
true.
I just find it fascinating that there are that many warrior angels walking the earth.
Oh yeah, they're all over the world, and it's just like I said. I've talked to some from the Netherlands, Australia, Alaska, France, Italy. It's just, they connect with me and say, why do I feel this way, or why can I do this, or why am I doing this, or why am I drawn to this?
Yeah,
And so I tell them,
because it's your job.
yeah,
That
I'm.
what
That's
is that what
part
you
of
do?
that's part of the job. It's part of the job for me is to communicate with them, get them going on, this is what you are, this is the name of your angel, and this is what your specialty is, and this is what you're doing in this lifetime. And if you have questions, shoot me an email. But that's the way it is. And
Well,
people usually have that sixth sense that they are. They,
I don't think there's much doubt
no.
if that's if that's who you are, if
Hmm.
that's what you're called to do. It's very hard not to acknowledge that
Oh,
because
I've
it's,
had people that want to, push it away.
yeah, well, not everybody is comfortable being that.
Yeah, but I tell them, they like, I want to shut it. I want to shut it down. I want to do this. I want to do that. I'm like, okay, you're going to shut your abilities down. I said, but it's going to come out in some other way that you're not going to like. Maybe you start getting headaches. Maybe you start having problems you never had before. I said, when you bottle up a genie, it doesn't like being in the lamp. It's going to want to get out. It's going to cause problems until it gets out, you know?
That's a that is a by God fact.
Mm-hmm.
That is an absolute fact. And we're going to go and take a break here in a few minutes. We have a question from Jennifer in chat,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not sure this is something that works this way, but she said, and I'm just going to read it.
Okay.
Can you ask Michael to send me a healing angel, please? Is that something that is a
Sita.
thing?
Sita. Have
Okay.
her ask for Sita. S
Shita?
Sita. Sita.
Sita. Ask for Sita, Jennifer.
She's the head of the healing angels. She will assign one.
Well, I'm going to write that down so that if Jennifer didn't get that, then I'll have it if she
Hmm.
messages me.
Yeah.
And for anyone listening, this will be in archives somewhere. It's on the UNX Network's YouTube channel. There's stuff all over the place. So you can find this if you need to listen to it again. And oh, she got it.
Good.
So yay. She said thank you.
Hmm.
So, is that all someone needs?
Yeah.
Just to ask for one?
Yeah. It's not like, if it's for your greater good and you're not saying, oh, well, I've got a pain in my butt and I'm going to go bowling. So I really don't want to, have that pain in my butt. That's
Yeah.
not how it works.
Yeah.
Because they know when that you need it. It's not about what you want, it's about what you need.
Yes. I used to wish that I could get miraculous healing on an injury that I had. And I'm just like, I kept the leg, everything. Yeah, I can walk. I'm going to be walking all over Scotland in a couple of weeks.
There you go.
I walk wherever I want to go. But yeah, it would be nice to be able to jump. I have a 2-year-old granddaughter that looked at me and said, "Jump, Bebop, jump." I'm like, probably not.
Yeah.
But I did.
Let me get some of those coil shoes.
I did
Remember
jump.
the old ones?
I did. Joing. Like Bugs Bunny put on his feet. So, or Elmer Fudd did to catch Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
But, well, we're going to go ahead and take our break. And we will be back. Y'all come back too. And thank you so much for being here.
Hey, UFO conference enthusiasts. We've got another great event for you in 2024. The Saucers and Aliens Kansas UFO Day in Dimension G is being held in the UFO capital of Kansas, Geneseo, on July 6th. This is a fun festival in the middle of nowhere. There will be a parade, decorated yards, costumes, vendors, speakers, and a showing of the movie The Day the Earth Stood Still. Appropriately, an 8-foot-tall statue of Gort and a statue of Klaatu will be dedicated. This will be the only museum in the U.S. with these custom-made statues. If you'd like to donate to the statue project or attend the event, visit GeneseoMuseum.com. That's GENESEO Museum.com. Be sure to bring your camera when you attend the event. That's GeneseoMuseum.com.
The Unx Network presents a health and wellness spiritually based brand of hemp-derived CBD products made by Hopewell Farm in Harrogate, Tennessee. We apply our Cathara energy work with all of our plants and products. Our products made in small batches with only 2 ingredients of pure hemp, full-spectrum crude oil, and coconut-derived MCT oil. Third-party lab tested for potency and legal THC levels with 6 strengths of 1 ounce oil to choose from. Know what you're buying and get what you pay for from Hopewell Farm. Applied directly to a specific area, Hopewell Farm topical salve in 1 ounce and ½ ounce sizes made with pure hemp crude oil, comfrey extract, and all natural ingredients. Find the Hopewell Farm link and coupon code on the Unx Network website at unxnetwork.com. That's unxnetwork.com.
This is Margie Kay, and I'd like to say thank you to all of our KUNX show hosts, staff, listeners, and viewers for making us number 1 on Paranormal Talk Radio.
Welcome back to Paranormal Experience with Kat Hobson. That's me, and I'm so glad that you're here. This is a special show tonight. They all are, but this is my friend June Lundgren, who is a demon seer. She's an author. She's got her 10th book ready to come out that's being prepped for publication as we speak. And, I'm just so glad that you're here, June. Thank you.
Oh, thanks for having me. I always enjoy my time with you.
I enjoy you too. And I learn all the time from you. And I was going to mention because when I did the intro of you, bringing you on, I mentioned that Heidi had died of leukemia.
Yeah.
And did you know she was sick?
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah. But she didn't want me to say anything.
well, I'm glad you didn't because it was something that there wasn't going to be a fix for.
Right.
And I just treated her like she was who she is the whole time.
Yeah.
And when we found out that she was bleeding out, and we tried doing platelet infusions and everything else. So
If she was a
she was,
human, she would have signed a DNR.
I know,
You know,
and now I know that.
That's how she felt about it. She said, it is my time, she says, and I'm going to enjoy my time.
Well, and we did enjoy her time from the beginning when she was in the pound.
Yeah.
And I didn't see her. And my daughter went and saw her, and they brought her to me, and she flew into that room and jumped right in my lap. And she was so special. And I just wanted to tell you thank you very much, because when you spoke with her, it was such a transitional experience for her. She went from being like gaga, nuttified, kind of concerned all the time, to being who she was, which was wonderful and vivacious and made friends everywhere we went. And one of the few dogs I've had that I would take into any location. She was so good.
Yeah, she would this gave her a chance to be herself.
Yeah. And I liked who she was, and she liked who I was. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
But I had always wondered, and I've never thought to ask you.
Yeah, and
if
she
had
that to me, they're like people in the way that if they don't want me to tell somebody something, I'm going to respect that. I'm going to respect that,
Sure.
so I don't say anything, because I wouldn't break their confidence by doing that.
No. Well, it was tough because I lost her and my lab pretty close together. And that was just like, I was just dead. Oh my God. But how wonderful to have been loved and to have loved like that, though.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Yeah. So, well, away from my experiences with you, other people want to have them too. And they can email you. Where would they email you?
They email me at demonseer2.com. No, wait a minute. Yeah, if you go, that's just like, okay. If they go to my website, there's a contact form. Just fill out the contact form, demonseer.com.
Yes.
And it'll give you a contact form.
I really cannot stress enough that your skill sets, aside from demon slaying, your skill sets working with animals are so astounding. I mean, I was blown away. I truly was. And, I'd sent you a picture of Tipper because that's how you do this.
Yeah.
And I didn't know when you were talking to him, right? Because I sent you the picture and you were like, well, because I started seeing him just kind of mellowing out a little bit. And I'm like, that was pretty quick.
Yeah,
and
it's easier if they're sleeping, because then you really get to talk to them deeply.
Yes. And I am such a believer that it's just amazing. So you got the website, demonseer.com.
Yep.
It is where you want to go for all kinds of answers. But I want to go back to, well, I want to go back to your books because your first book that I wrote down, God
Medium
knows
side to the
where I put it.
paranormal. Yeah, medium
It's so,
side to the paranormal.
it's just so, I mean, you wrote that with a purpose
Hmm.
in all of your books, really, because you're just trying to help people understand.
Trying to, get people to understand about the negatives, because people need to be informed.
Mhm.
I don't want to say educated because really that to me that doesn't sound right, but they just need to be informed of, how things work and what may cause, an demon to be attracted to you or something else, anything like that because most of the people that I come in contact with don't know what's going on. They only know it's like a black cloud hanging over my head, or they feel like they're under a curse, or everything's going wrong. They think they're going crazy, and that's why I put out the first one called The Dark Side, the Paranormal,
Mhm.
because I had done. My friends had been trying to talk me into for years doing the Body, Mind, Spirit Expo. So I thought, okay, I caved. So I thought, okay, I'll do it once. So I went there with my books and stuff, and you get to give an hour-long lecture on something. And my friends are, oh, talk about angels. I'm like, no, everybody does angels. I'm going to talk about the dark side of the paranormal. And I was a little bit late getting there, and there was standing room only, and I was really, really shocked. And I gave a lecture, and people were thanking me for the 2 days I was there for talking about it because that's a taboo subject for a lot of people. But
Yeah, it is.
if you keep it in the dark, how are you ever going to know how to get help and what it is? You
Well,
know,
it doesn't go away because you're not talking about it.
no, you can't say, bury your head in the sand and say, "Oh, it doesn't exist." You know, it
Well,
will. It will find you if it wants to. People think, I have friends that are Reiki masters, and they're like, we were taught never to read about it, never to talk about it, because it would bring them to you. I looked at them and I said, listen, if they want to find you, they don't need any help. They can do it all on their own.
well, I was told that because I was a light worker that I had a target on me, and I'm like, you know, I am, I'm not all woo, you know,
Yeah.
woo woo stuff. I'm just kind of like, you just take light with you,
Yeah, you are a light
and
worker,
you,
but you're not a target
no,
because the really targeted ones are the ones who deal with them
yeah.
and the ones
And
who
I'm not,
have no confidence or faith in themselves.
yeah.
Then that leaves you vulnerable.
Well,
And the
and
white light souls are the most vulnerable when they're in the physical form.
yeah,
That's why the negatives, attack us in the physical form because we are vulnerable. Because when we're in energetic form, we're not vulnerable.
right. Well, I have, I have been very fortunate. I have had, like, I didn't shield one day. I was just doing a meditation and I didn't bother to shield.
Oh,
And, I was in my safe place, which is my aunt's, my aunt's childhood home. There's a porch swing that was on there. There were, mint growing that we put in tea
yeah,
down at the bottom of the
yeah.
stairs. And out that swing is where I go. And I'm just sitting there doing my little thing. And this guy in a fedora, one of the little small fedoras like Bear Bryant
Mhm,
used to wear. Well, this little guy in a fedora in a shadow form came and sat beside me. Didn't say a word, just sat there,
mhm.
swinging with me. And I just was like, well, okay, glad you're comfy.
Yeah.
This is what I'm doing. You just do you. And because usually I have a bubble around
Mhm,
me when I'm doing that.
yeah.
And so when I finished, he just got up and left. And one of my friends that had a lot more experience than I did at the time
Mhm.
said, he was just basking in your glow. You were feeding them. And
Yeah.
I was like, well, I didn't feel like I lost anything. So, I was not intimidated. I wasn't upset. I wasn't harmed.
Hmm.
And my meditation did what it always does.
Right.
So I didn't feel like I had been endangered or
It,
infringed on.
it was just sizing you up.
Yeah. So, and I guess when I didn't go, eek, it's a
Right.
shadow guy,
Right.
it's
Right.
just like, yeah, here, you can do that too.
Yeah.
I don't mind if you're
Yeah.
beside me.
That's the thing. If you're like nonchalant about it, it's like you have your faith as your shield, like it
Hmm.
says in the Bible,
Yeah.
and you just, it's like, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
If
And
you
he kind of
freak,
looked like,
man, then that makes you vulnerable. That
yeah.
makes you target.
Well, what's really funny is that it presented in the same shape as my aunt's dad, who was
Hmm.
one of my best friends. He died
Uh-huh.
when I was in seventh grade, and I was devastated. And so I just accepted that, okay, well, this could be Uncle Steve, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm just not even going to worry about it because he's not messing with me.
Hmm.
He's just sitting with me.
Right.
So I didn't, what was I going to do? Mess up my meditation? And
Yeah. Well, you
you
didn't
know,
challenge. You didn't challenge it either.
I didn't challenge it.
Yeah. It wasn't. It wasn't fearful of you. You didn't challenge it, and you,
Yeah.
according to what I'm being told, is like you weren't worth their time and effort,
Yeah. It
which
was
is
just
good.
checking it
That's a
out.
very good thing.
It is a very good thing because I don't want to present as a challenge, right?
Yeah. No. No.
Yeah.
No.
Let's see if we can torment this poor woman to death.
Yeah.
But,
No.
it's really funny because I told somebody about that and they were like, oh my God, you're going to have to do, and I'm like, no, I don't have to do anything. There
Right.
was no interaction. There was no challenge. There was no, you know, you've got to get out of my space, get out of my bubble,
Hmm.
whatever. I'm just like, no, I'm not going to create a scene. I did have someone send something that was needing to be
Negative.
addressed here,
Hmm. Yeah.
and it
And
was done with
you'll find
intention.
people. Oh yeah, people do that. I've had people that contact me because somebody stuck a demon on them, and was and like a bruja, put a demon on somebody, and it's like I can't tell you how many of those I've removed. But the thing is, if you don't teach them a lesson, they'll keep doing it to people, to other people. So I usually take the demon, slap it upside the head a few times, and put it back on the person who sent it. And I tell the
Yes.
demon, you're going to make their life miserable so that they
Yeah.
never, never, ever want to bother anybody with this again. And I said, if you don't, I'll know and I'll kill you myself. And it works,
That's
it works really good.
that would. But yeah, that brings to mind I had been in New Orleans and some friends of mine had come down and they were staying over in Mississippi and we went over to New Orleans and because they'd never seen it.
Yeah.
And we just walked all through the quarter and, just went everywhere. And they wanted to go into a voodoo shop because one of their daughters wanted to get a candy skull.
Oh, yeah.
And this was a very popular, big name voodoo shop.
Hmm.
And when we walked in, I was careful there. I was
Yeah.
just like, got mine,
Yep.
but I made sure that the other people with us did too,
Yeah.
because they needed that too. And when we first walked in, the cashiers were like, really? Kind of like,
Yeah.
and I was just like, no,
Hmm.
don't even try that. And so the daughter that wanted the candy skull was back by where the reader was.
Hmm.
And I could feel that reader. And I don't know why she was reaching out, right? And so I just went and stood behind their daughter and was just kind of like, big bubble, got a big
Yep.
bubble. We're all good. Everything's
Hmm.
fine. And I could just, because you can feel
Hmm.
when somebody's reaching.
Yeah.
And
Somebody's come at you. Yeah.
that was the weirdest place that I've ever experienced like that. And it was it was malignant.
Oh
It
yeah.
was a terrible energy.
Hmm.
And I just thought, I'm so glad I'm who I am.
Yeah.
I'm so glad
Some
that,
unsuspecting person, you know.
yeah. I mean, well, the child, she was
Yeah.
13.
Yeah.
And,
They're, yeah,
I
they're
just,
vulnerable.
and the people that were sensitive but not, really trained
Hmm.
were walking out. I mean,
Yeah.
they were waiting outside. And I'm like, she hasn't picked out her skull yet.
Yeah.
She is just
She
like,
needs her skull.
she's got, yeah, because she wasn't leaving without that. But yeah, that was one of the strangest experiences. I, it was the first time I had somebody know who I was without seeing me,
They saw the
just from
light.
my energy.
Yeah, they saw the light.
Yeah. And it was very hard to keep, it wasn't hard to keep my focus because I knew what I had to do
Right.
to get people out. But it was just like, why are you coming for me? You know, why are you doing
It's
this?
just because you're of the light.
Well, it was just about every person that worked in that store.
Hmm. Yeah.
It started with the cashier when we walked by her,
Yeah.
and I
They're,
feel it right now.
yeah, they're drawn to that type of
Yeah.
situation. Yeah.
So, and I hate when I feel it after the fact. That's why I don't usually talk about stuff like that,
Yeah.
because I don't like giving energy to it. But
Yeah.
it's very,
Exactly. Yeah.
but people need to know that's there.
Yeah. People
You
don't. If
know,
people don't know how, like that's why I wrote the book in the first place. If people don't know,
yeah,
how can they protect themselves? How
exactly.
can they know the signs and symptoms, and know to get help? Because if you get help when it first happens to you, that's
Yeah.
much easier than having it for 20 years or 5 or 7 years and trying to get help.
Well, does it kind of embed like tentacly?
It
Like,
it does. If you could see what I see, sometimes the demon will sit in your brain like a skull cap, and it'll run its tentacles down your spine
right?
and into certain areas of your body that are the most vulnerable.
Hmm.
And demons can cause cancer, they can activate cells, they can cause injuries. I mean, literally, I had a client's husband who the wife had died a couple years prior, and she had never had a sick day in her life. They moved into this house, and she was dead within 2 years of a rare form of cancer that like 1 in 2 billion people ever get.
Wow.
And she was like dead within 2 years. And there was a demon entombed in the ground. And that's what they do. They cause all this sort of thing. When they built the house, this was a new tract of houses. When they built the house, they opened up that tomb and it so it can come and go.
Right.
And it was pulling the guy out of the bed. It was long scratches, biting him. I mean, it was just I got called in because from friends of mine that were a paranormal group that did the investigation, and they like the lead guy knew that there was something negative there,
Hmm.
and they told him to put crystals in all four corners of the house. So the guy woke up the next morning and all the crystals were broken in half, and these are not small crystals; these were big
Yeah.
ones. And he was pulled out of bed in the middle of the night. And I said, "It's a demon." I said, "It's simple, And the first thing out of a lot of them at mouth is, "Are you Christian?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, I believe in God." I mean, come on, you can't do this without God. And this couple went with me. That the husband's an ordained minister, a friend of mine, and the wife. And I knew where the demon was. It was upstairs. So I was going up the stairs, and they were following, and it tried to push the wife down the stairs, and I blocked it. It reached in to grab the guy's heart, and it started squeezing his heart, and I blocked it. And I hadn't run into any demon that was entombed like that before.
Right.
And so, I made it tell me why it was entombed. And it said it had gone against Lucifer. And Lucifer entombed it in the ground, just like there's one in the rock in Alcatraz,
Mhm.
But I killed the demon, and then his was like a veritable smorgasbord. He had elementals, he had spirits that were earthbound there. He had a portal under his workshop. And it's like, I told him, I said, come over here and feel this door.
Right.
And he came over and he says, it's vibrating. I said, yeah. I said, because there's a portal underneath it. I said, I just need to close it and take it out. And then there were Native Americans who were trying to help, and they weren't strong enough to stop the demon.
Well, demons have a lot of oomph.
Yeah, they're persistent, if nothing else.
Yeah. Well, it's weird to me that, like, what I was talking about has been 15 years ago,
Mhm.
and I still feel when I talk about it. So I can't imagine.
I'll tell you how to fix that when we get off the air.
Okay. But it's just so weird because, you know, you're in a tourist area.
Right. Yeah, you wouldn't
And
expect that. Yeah.
no. And this, like I said, this is probably the dominant voodoo shop in New Orleans.
Very
And
popular.
I was just like, this is weird. I had a reader. I've never done tarot.
Mm-hmm.
So this young lady, she looked like she needed a sandwich, right? So
Yeah.
she was like, well, I'm going to do this. And I was like, well, I have this much money, and this is all the money I have, literally.
Yeah.
So don't do anything that you will feel cheated if you go past this, because this is all I've got.
Uh-huh.
And so she kept on going and going and going. And I was like, okay, we're done. And she was like, well, I want to do this. I was like, I don't have any more money. And she got mad. And so, and I had never given her my name. She was just, just one of the people on, in the square. And as I'm walking away, I got to the other side of the square and I heard my name. Someone called my name. And I turned around and she was staring at me. And so I walked back over there. And I was like, why did you call my name? She's like, you didn't tell me your name. I said, I know. Why did you call my name? Did you think that you would, frighten me? I'm not afraid. And I didn't do anything wrong to you. So you need to not be angry. And she was like, oh, no, I'm not angry. I'm like, good, because I didn't do anything for you to be angry about. I said, I don't have anything but respect for you at this point. So we're good. And I think it was because I didn't give her my name. And yet, I didn't have a wallet out. I didn't have anything.
Yeah, but it knew your name.
It knew my name.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I felt like I needed to go back. Just to say, I know it's not you.
Right. Exactly.
So, and because I didn't want anything feeling competent and following me around.
Yeah, it can happen.
Yeah. I know people that has happened to. New Orleans is tricky.
Anywhere demons can jump from one person to another. If they don't like, if they're not getting enough thrills out of the one that they're attached to, they'll go find somebody else, look for greener pastures.
And people don't believe that or don't recognize that.
I think it's a little blend of both until their life starts going in the toilet, because that's what they do. Finances go down, your health starts going, you may lose your job, you start having money trouble. Some people have even been hacked, and it just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah. Well, girl, I got hacked to beat the band.
Uh-huh.
And like Facebook, financials, the whole bit. And I was just like, whoa, this is bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that's a real thing.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it just happened like in 20 minutes
Right.
because I was
Right.
asleep and getting messages from Facebook saying, did you do this? And I didn't answer. So they let it continue.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's on you. That's on you. You asked me a question. I didn't answer you. You should have stopped it there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, what are you going to do? But
Exactly.
even little things like that. I mean, relatively speaking, that was a little thing
Yeah, but it
in the
can.
grand scheme of things.
Yeah, but it can. It can grow,
Yeah,
and it can get the person to worry and to obsess on it, think about it all the time,
yeah.
and that's what they want.
Well, it's really funny because before I was ever doing any of this, I've been a parrot head since I was like 15. So I just really live kind of in my own little bubble.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm very serious about what I do spiritually,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm also very much like a que sera kind of person.
Yeah.
You know, you can't, you can't really change timelines,
Right.
but you can kind of surf through them gently.
It all depends on
And
if you turn left or if you turn right.
yeah, and you've got to know where you are before you can make those choices.
Exactly. It's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been very grounding having you as somebody that I get to talk to. You know,
I've been called a lot of things, but never grounded.
well, you I think it's because one of the things I admire the most about you is that you don't try to make what you are and can do grandiose. You're just very, yeah, this is who I am. If you have a problem with that, that's not my problem.
Mhm.
But this is, excuse me, this is what I do.
Yeah.
And that's funny.
And I'm
This
the one.
happens sometimes
I'm
when I talk about that.
and I'm the one you come to when you need it, when you need help.
Yes. And so far it's been animals for the most part. But
But I mean, people talk about it. No, a lot of times you think, people don't want to talk to me because of what I do. Like
mm,
I'm going to carry some on me. Let me dig through my
you
pockets.
get rid of those babies. I mean, are you kidding?
Actually, Ariel does carry a few of them in her pockets.
Well, they're probably
Yeah,
pets.
she kind of reminds me of the Hermione Granger. Her pockets are never ending, and
Oh,
if she
that's a
gets
great.
if somebody's doing something they shouldn't, and it's being mean to somebody or whatever, then she'll look in her pocket and pull out a little creepy crawly dude or something, and tell it to go bother the person for a little while and then come back. So,
Yeah.
you know,
That's why Hermione Granger is one of my heroes. That's funny
there you
that
go.
you used her. But
Never ending
it's
pockets.
sorry. And I talk all the time. Only when I talk about this subject does this happen with my throat.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's just the
Well,
way it rolls.
it took me a year to put my book out, The Dark Side of the Paranormal, because
Yeah.
I call hell downstairs. Downstairs, always trying to interfere. I'm told them, you ain't gonna win. I'm gonna win.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm giving away all your ugly secrets. I always think of Bugs Bunny and Witch Hazel. I'm gonna
Yes.
worm all your ugly secrets out of you.
That is that's also a great comparison.
Yeah,
So
exactly. I will.
I love that laugh.
I love Witch Hazel.
Yeah. Well, what do you out of the stories in your book? There are some great stories that are coming out.
Hmm.
And why did you pick those? The
I
ones that are
think I
here.
picked those because they kind of represent different things. Um, None of them are good,
Yeah.
but I think it's like the battleground demon. It's it's making people aware of, they can be entombed in the ground. They can cause, illness. They can cause you to get cancer. They can have all kinds of repercussions. And, I put in the story about when I was in the Air Force. And, the demon, my first real encounter with a demon before I knew Ariel was in there. And people need to understand that I didn't grow up knowing Ariel was there. I knew I was different. But when faced with it, she came forward. And like I said, she told the demon, this one belongs to us, not you. But there's a lot of different situations. The one with the ghost adventure guys, it's like, it's not for everybody. And, that if you mess with the demons, you're going to pay the price for it.
Yes.
And you need to understand that. But in each encounter I have, I learn something new. And demons evolve, just like angels evolve over time, demons evolve over time. And I'm finding that demons have a tendency, some of them have a tendency to force their evolution. And if they force their evolution, they become, if they were human, I would say they've gone insane.
Right.
Because they do not act like a normal demon. They do not have, a normal demon a lesser demon or an old demon would have, creepy crawlies around them to help them, find victims and stuff. And you got one of these, there's no creepy crawlies. None of the other demons want to be around them because they're so unpredictable. They do not conform to the normal way and actions of being a demon. They're much more intense. People say about demons, they have a set MO, they have a set pattern. They work that, they're mostly predictable. But and they like to stick with their regime.
Right.
So when you got somebody that's like coming from out there in left field somewhere and causing chaos not only to humans but to other demons as well, then that's when usually they'll find them and kill them. They'll actually just take them out because they won't tolerate it. Lucifer will not tolerate it at all. Just like the rogue demons, you'll get rogue demons from time to time. And, whenever I find one, I kill it. And Lucifer knows. He'll come to me and he'll say, hey, I've got 3 of them. They're on the loose. If you come across them, just kill them. I told him, I said, like, I'm not going to kill them. I mean, come on.
Kind of my job, dude.
And he's just like, okay, whatever. He said, just let me know when you find them. I'm like, okay, I'll let you know.
You'll notice they're gone.
Imagine that,
Yeah.
Well, they're all connected together.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like with God, we're all connected to God. We're all connected to the God consciousness. Well, the demons are all connected to him in one form or another. So if something goes missing, something happens, then it kind of resonates with him.
Right.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that he approached you.
Ariel's dealt with him for a long time.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like the best
there
game plan for him.
There is this respect. The Lucifer has much respect for the Legion of Light and God and Jesus. He will not cross them, and he has that respect. And the Legion has respect for him in the way that he is the leader of his people. His position is all they respect. But, so people think, why do you talk to, I only ever call him Lucifer because it means the shining one. And he was light before he was dark.
He was light.
So
and people forget that.
Yeah. And he's not all bad. I have a friend in Glasgow that has the Archangel Hanel within him. And Hanel and Lucifer were best buds before the war. and he bears him no ill will, because he says you fought for what he deserved, what he believed in. He says, so
Right.
I have no problem with that. So from time to time, he goes and visits Hanel. And one time he was up there, and he asked him, what do you think of, he calls me Auntie Ariel. What do you think of Auntie Ariel? And Lucifer looked at him and said, respect the assassin. And it's like, there is that respect.
Yes.
Because he knows she would not even give it a second thought to go down there and take him out if need be. The only problem with that is better the devil you know than the one you don't.
That's true. At least you know who's there
Yeah.
and their role.
Yeah. It's like, a
But
lot of people, I've always said that demons are stupid. The old demons are very intelligent, and the ancient ones are even more intelligent. But the lesser ones are like hormonal teenagers. They do stupid things.
yeah.
But they're learning. We all have to learn somewhere. And and Lucifer said the same thing. He says, really, they're not stupid. They do stupid things. He says, they're learning. I said, yeah, I know, but do they have to learn on my account? I'm like,
Yeah.
don't be learning in my territory, because that'll
Well,
get you killed.
let me ask you, because where do new demons come from?
No such thing.
Well, but you're the young demons
Well,
versus the ancients versus the olds.
when they evolved. Okay, so we had physical bodies billions of years ago on
Right.
a planet. We were warlike, we were very primitive, and that's where God found us. And he taught us, to get rid of fear, we got rid of fear, disease, all these negative things, wars, everything. And over time, we evolved into pure energy. And the ones that were, shall we say, the most enlightened evolved first. And they became like the archangels.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the warrior angels, and then you have the common angels, and then you have the common souls. So you equate them as the common souls are the younger ones. They're still learning. And the common angels are learning as well. And the warrior angels have learned to a point that they've become proficient in what they're doing. And the archangels have achieved, the highest, they are the best. So archangels are old, common souls are young, common angels are young. And with demons, it's the same thing. The older demons are the smarter ones. They are the older ones, and then the younger ones are the ones that evolved after them. And that's why I call them lesser demons, because they're hormonal teenagers.
Which are pain. I remember it hasn't been that long since I had some of those. They're a pain in the
Yeah.
wazoo at times.
Oh, they are. It's, it's like the one thing about it is Ariel can kill him with a thought.
Yeah.
So it's like, buzz off.
That's so funny. And it is, because sitting here looking at you, you do not look like a warrior priestess angel.
Yeah.
And yet I know, well, you've been in the military, so you're pretty badass to start with. Then you're a nurse, which just adds to the badassery, right?
Mm.
And then everything else that you've done in life just has built the physical you
Yeah.
in that fashion. So it's no shock that you're a warrior, right?
Right.
So, but it's just to sit. The first time we sat down and had a conversation like this, I was
Mhm.
like, really? Really? She's serious.
Yeah.
And
And
because,
what does a warrior look like? The best.
well, Xena, warrior princess.
When I was in the army, I was taking a class. We had to take a class on cover and concealment.
Mm-hmm.
And the staff sergeant that was teaching it said, you women are the best camouflage artists in the world. He said,
Yeah.
you come out here looking like this, and then you go into town looking like that. He says, you guys got it all going on, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, I keep Ariel hidden because until she needs to come out. But she's always there all the
Yeah.
time. And she gives me that confidence. I had somebody one time tell me I was arrogant. And I said, listen, if I can't do what I say I can do, and it's just an act, then you can call me arrogant. I
Yeah.
said, but when you come to me to do your demonic work, then, I'm just confident
Yeah.
because I know what I can do.
Well, and I wonder if that would have been said if you weren't who you are. So
Probably
I,
no.
I have. It's funny where the verbiage switches because you go from being a strong, confident woman to being something that you would prefer not to be called, right?
Yeah.
And when I'm doing investigations, often that's what I'm called
Mm-hmm.
by
Yeah.
the spirits.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I just got here. I'm nice. What are you doing? But I get it all the time.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times, a lot of people have gone through there and have been disrespectful.
Mhm.
It's like I tell people, you don't. It's one of the things I preach. Do not provoke. Do not ask them to, move this, do that. I said,
Yeah.
how would you like somebody to come in your house and tell you to do this? I said, you'd be
Yeah.
pissed. I said, so don't do it to them because they were people once.
Well, I don't provoke.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't until something starts being ugly toward
Mm-hmm.
me or calling me names, and I'm like, no, that's not who I am. I'm a
Right.
lovely person, damn it. I mean,
Listen
but
to me.
yeah, but the funniest thing was a living person. I was at an investigation, a public investigation, and a living person was like, "You can use all of our energy." I said, "No,
No.
no, you cannot use my energy,
Right.
and and you don't have the right to give my energy away. So you
No.
need to not say that
Absolutely
anymore.
not.
No, don't do that."
Yeah.
And so this person was somebody that I knew a little, and he was like, "Well, can we do that?" I was like, "Well, what do you want to do?" I mean, so he wanted to do an energy bridge.
Okay.
And I was like, "You don't really want to do that."
No.
And he was like, "No, come on." And one of my friends was there. It was her first paranormal investigation.
Yeah. You
And
don't.
I was
No.
just like, you know what? Well, I let him do it because the person that he was trying to give energy to was not a
Mm-hmm.
negative. It was a
Yeah.
young woman that needed a voice. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, you just come on over here.
Mm-hmm.
We'll show you what this does. And I just put my hands out for him to hold, and he hit his knees. And there's video of it. And I haven't seen the video of it, but it was just like, now, don't mess with other people's energy.
Right.
Don't do it. It's not polite.
No.
But yeah, but it was because I know what I have. And he was just saying what he'd seen people say,
Yeah. Yeah. They. You
and
know.
I'm like, you can't do that.
No. So many paranormal shows. It's not like that in real life.
No, it's
That's
not
why.
anything like them in real
That's why
life.
I don't. And then you get these shows like Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures and stuff, and Dead Files and stuff, and people think that that's how it really, really is. But that ain't how it really, really
No.
is. Why would you? You have these people that know there's a negative entity there, and they're provoking it. It's like I told Zach. I said, "What idiot? What something you can't see, feel, hear, you know, and communicate with and touch,
Yeah.
and they're going to kick your butt." I said, "Why would you do that? Why they could punch you and you would never even see it coming?"
Theater major.
Yeah,
Theater major. But
Yeah.
I'm going to put out here because I do ride him hard sometimes, just picking on him a little bit.
No.
But by the same token, he has really brought to light the fact that this is an ongoing thing. This is
Yeah.
not just for TV. This is real life.
Mhm.
And he has been touched by it so much that with
Oh
it
yeah.
being that he has staff people to take care of his problems,
Oh yeah.
right? And I I actually went and toured. I did an investigation of his museum the last time that we were in Las Vegas. It was a public thing. It was really awesome. It was none of the lights on, none of the gadgets on, nothing. And you mentioned this item in your book. Um, I walked in when I did a tour years before. The Dybbuk box bothered me. Okay,
Mhm.
so I walk in. It's the the building is light, feeling clear, and my and only my spirit box is going Dybbuk, 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 Dybbuk. And I'm like,
Okay.
I'm working here. I'll be there, but I'm starting here,
Right.
and it just kept doing it. And people were coming out of other rooms like, what is that? Where's that coming from? And they were like, it's her spirit box. It's her box. So I walk in, I'm going through, and time is running out. I'm not really paying attention because I'm getting to go
Right.
in these areas that I didn't get to go in on the tour,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
And I've got equipment and I'm having fun. I'm experiencing energies here and there. Nothing's bothering me. And I had told the Dybbuk box when it was doing that, so I will come there before I go. Well, everybody came up to me, it's going to be over, and they're like, have you been up to the Dybbuk box yet? And I'm
Mhm.
like, no, I'm not even sure where I am right now to know how to get there, and we're almost done. And they
Mhm.
said, we know where it is. Come on, we'll take you. All these people are like, we want to see this, right? So I get up there. There it is. The salt is around it. When I was there the first time, the salt was moving. It looked like claw marks going through it, right? And the voices. And this time the room is nice and light. It feels good. And I walked in, I was like, hi, I'm Kat. You were calling me. I'm here. And it said, hi. And that was it. It just wanted me to go there.
Yeah. That was. I'm
Mhm.
sure that was after I cleared it out.
Must have been but there was no
I
there
cleared
was no
everything out of there.
anything. Well,
There
you
were
did a good
so many.
job.
There were so many demons in there. They were
I think
attached to
people
objects.
bring them with them because the people that come are drawn to that.
Well,
And
the demons make them bring them.
okay.
The
Well, it
demons
was
were
definitely
sending them
different.
so that they could gather them all together. More
Well, it
power.
was totally not. It was totally not. The whole place was light.
Hmm.
I mean, it wasn't lit, but
But you
the
could feel it was much lighter.
yeah, it
That's
was
why
eerie.
that's why I went through it after I did it. So I was outside doing it so that I could make sure everything was gone.
Well, it was interesting because I I'm a Key West frequenter, or I
Hmm.
was before I got hurt. And I I'm very aware of Robert the Doll. I have
Hmm.
had friends who have taken his picture, done whatever without asking, went
Hmm.
home and came back to apologize.
Yeah.
There's there's no telling the number of letters people have sent saying, "Would you please apologize to him for me because this
Yeah.
is happening. I
Pe-
need it to stop."
People don't
Well,
realize when you've got a demon attached to object,
mhm,
even though it's bound to the object, it
it can
has far-reaching
yes,
consequences. It can reach your
yes,
ass even if you go clear across the
anywhere,
world. It's going to
anywhere,
find you. Yeah, it'll
yes.
find you.
Well, I've never been to the museum where he lives, but you can feel him if you're coming from the airport, coming around Atlantic Avenue to go to your hotel area. You can feel him
Someday I'll
from
have to take him out.
well, it is wild. Well, I'm walking through and I'm still feeling light and airy. There's nothing weird. And I come into a room and there is Robert freaking Dahl. right? And I'm like, no, I don't investigate where Robert the doll is, right?
Robert the
And I'm
dog.
sitting there for a minute and I'm like, okay. So I go to find a staff member and I was like, why do you have a duplicate of Robert the doll?
Yeah, and it's not the real
And they
one.
were like, what? And I was like, why do you have this is not Robert the doll. I know where he
No.
lives, and this is not
Mhm.
Robert the doll. Somebody
Right.
gave it to Zach.
Oh, it
Somebody
just
gave
adds
it as
up.
a gift to
Yeah,
Zach,
yeah,
and
yeah.
so he put it in there because of the novelty of it,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
And the
Yeah.
guy was like, "How do you know that's not Robert the doll?" I said, "Because I don't feel him.
Yep.
You
You
would
would figure it
know
out.
if that was
Yeah.
Robert the doll because I know his energy."
Yep.
So that's where, yeah, if you go take him out, I might go
Yeah.
back to Key West. I'm not right now. I'm not going back. So
I have
I
people
had
tell me,
multiple,
I have people tell me, don't take the demon out of here, or don't take the demon out of there, because they want to make money off it.
yeah,
That
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 drives me
infuriates
crazy.
me. That
Drives me
infuriates me.
crazy.
It's like, demons shouldn't be here. Think of all the
Mm-mm.
pain and suffering they're causing people, and you want to make money off it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
How
not a
wrong
good.
could that possibly be, right?
Yeah,
It's a load of crap.
yeah, I don't like it.
No.
It'd be like
Well,
entrapping a child's spirit. You don't do that either.
no, no. And, you know, I have often wondered how many times is it really a child versus how many times is it not?
Not a child. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's that's the thing. If the demon shows itself to you,
Hmm.
it can show itself as your mom, your aunt, your
Yeah.
little baby brother, whatever. But and mostly people just look at it, the figure. Oh,
Hmm.
it's so and so. They do not pay attention to details. They do not look into the eyes.
Hmm.
If you look into the eyes, they will have the same color eyes they had when they were alive. If they're a human one. If they're
Right.
not, they will have either red, gold, or black eyes.
Good to know.
Then you know it's a demon.
You know, I haven't had anybody familial here active in
Hmm.
some time. At one point, it was just zany because, one mom's stuff was on one side of the garage, the other mom's stuff was on the other side of the garage, and there was so much noise.
Hmm.
And I'm finally like, I got mad one day. I opened it because they were bothering my dogs. I opened the door. I said, "That's her. That's her. Y'all are related. Get along. Get to know
Yeah,
each other. You both have really cool stuff." And I just slammed the door back to the basement. And that was the
yeah,
last time that there was like the big, stomping
yeah,
ruckus kind
yeah.
of stuff. But
One of them.
it was crazy. I was just
Yeah,
like, come on, ladies.
yeah,
So,
yeah. That's what happens.
yeah,
But when people do an investigation and something negative happens, they automatically say there's a demon there.
yeah.
But 9 times out of 10, it's not.
Mm-mm.
It's just Aunt Sybil or Uncle Charlie or something.
Yeah.
Trying to get your attention.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to tell you this if that's because you will get a kid. I used to do my shows in the downstairs office, and then I realized dogs and not soundproof. So upstairs. And I was doing an interview with one of the best psychics, you know, as far as just good at what he does.
Yeah.
And I'm looking out my door, and we have a foosball table with an exercise ball on it. And the exercise ball is rocking on the foosball table. And I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. I'm on the air. Don't do it.
Mhm.
The ball jumps off the foosball table, starts rolling around the basement floor, the den floor.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're doing it. Stop. Yeah. And Andrew's like, what's happening there? And I said, well, somebody's acting out. Sorry. But
Yeah,
he felt it.
they're doing it because they want you to know they're there. Yeah, it's like,
Well,
woohoo.
but I'm like, I'm talking to somebody here. Stop. It was so funny. But anyway, so that was somebody that knew me
Hmm.
and
Oh
was
yeah,
just trying to say, hey, You need
Yeah.
to give me some attention. Give me a little love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like
But
when I first started doing shows, it'd be a lot of people be hearing things in the recordings and stuff like that, growls
yeah.
and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, that's just normal. That's just the way it is. If
Yeah.
I talk about them, they don't like it, so they gotta, step up their game a
Well, we
little
had that I think the first 2 shows that we did.
bit. Hmm.
So I know the first one because my producer was like, "Where did you find her?" I said, "Everywhere." "What are you talking about?" I mean, she's everywhere. And yeah, they were a little disconcerted about some of the sounds that were in
Oh
the
yeah,
recording. I'm
Mm.
like, "Oh, well,
Yeah, it is what it is.
yeah, it is what it is."
Yeah, and when you do
So,
this, you're gonna have side effects.
well, I have never had a paranormal show that didn't get a little weird sometimes.
Yeah,
So there's something always that's going on in it. But we are almost out of time. You want to
yeah.
tell people where they can find you and your books?
You can go to Amazon and put in my name, and you'll find all
Yes.
the books that I've done. Most of them are in both print and ebook format.
Yeah.
My new book, The Dark Encounters, will be out in about 10 days.
I need
The-
to tell you something about that off the air too.
okay, and you can go to my website, demonseer.com. It feeds into my original website, which is mysticconnections.org. So don't freak out when you get there, but both things lead to the
Yeah.
same place because all the information is right there. And I'm on Facebook under June Lundgren, and I don't do Twitter much, but I do Instagram once in a while.
I have just discovered Instagram. I share everything.
Yeah,
I love it. It's all these great memes and reels, and I'm just like,
yeah,
share, share, share.
sure.
My kids are laughing at me, but I just found it. Maybe I'll slow down some later. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. And some of them are really good. There are some very creative people out there.
Oh, yeah, there are.
So I appreciate every one of them too. So I just appreciate you. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's always a joy to talk to you.
I love it too. I just think that our energy plays well together.
Yep.
So, but I'm going to message you with what I found later.
Okay.
And for everyone listening, thank you all so much because you know what? Y'all are what make this so much fun. I love what I do. I love bringing you wonderful people like June. And, it's all about y'all. So don't forget, we will be back next week. Same cat time, same cat channel. And have a good week. Good night. Oh, and stay tuned because Ground Zero is coming up right after this with Clyde Lewis. You'll enjoy it.